My name is Ann Johnson, and I work for the Northside Achievement Zone. I'm the VP of Education. When I think back, Black History Month means a lot to me because I remember when it was first brought to my attention that me as a person got a month to celebrate. I remember my mom and dad telling me, they're gonna come to you in school and they're gonna talk about Black History Month. And I'm like, well, what is that? And then my dad would say, do you remember this song that I used to play for you all the time, Being Young, Gifted, and Black? By Nina Simone. And I was like, yeah. And he said, well, now you get to celebrate the whole month. And I was so excited when I heard that. I didn't really understand what that meant, but I was excited to be acknowledged as a Black person and that I get to celebrate. I remember when I was probably about 12 years old, and this was after Martin Luther King had died, and I remember looking on the bookshelf in our living room, and there was this whole row of books on Martin Luther King. And every day for like a month, I would just read about him and wanted to learn more and more about him. And these were books, again, I was, probably maybe 11. And these were adult books, but I was so interested. And I remember my mom saying, we can get you a book on Martin Luther King. I said, no, these are fine. And I learned about him. And ever since then, I have loved that man. Like, I knew him personally and watched every movie that they made about him, every documentary, and every year I do the same thing. And when I became a teacher, one of the first things that I did was purchase this video called Our Friend Martin. And I would show my class that every year because it really showed the heart of Martin Luther King and his vision and his dream. My feelings on how Black people are reflected in our culture and media, it's kind of skewed because in my household, we do so much more. And in my household and with my own personal children, it was so important that they knew how important Black people are and what they bring. And learning over the years, I'd say over the last 5 years, more about my own ancestors who had schools named after them, have a university building named after them, and the importance that they did around education, around music. And I just recently found, actually in Seattle, that my second cousin, my mom's cousin, was married to the first African-born person to attend Morehouse College. And that just like blew me away, being a graduate of an HBCU. And I'm like, I gotta learn more. And so it's always been a constant learning. It's not something I only do once a year, or I only teach my kids once a year, but it's something that it's constantly learning. And I've instilled it in my own kids. And now they're instilling it in their kids. I think awareness of Black culture has shifted over the years because back when I was teaching 40-some years ago when I first started, I would be in spaces where I was centered around white people who knew nothing about other than Martin Luther King and Rosa Parks. It was the same Black Americans that they knew about, but during that time really being able to teach them more, and then them being able to teach the class more, and I thought that was important. And then doing things with us as a whole, like really working with my brothers and sisters of other races on learning more about Black history. And so that has always been really, really fun. I think it has to be something that we continuously do. It's not, to me, it's not a month, and I always say that. And then being introduced and introducing to others. Like I said, to really introducing to our brothers and sisters of various races. I was teaching a class last night, and the students, I call them my kids, but they range in age from about 24 to 70, and they are from Thailand, they're from South Korea, a couple from different countries in Africa, Mexico, just a variety, very diverse classroom. And in that, just using that time to introduce them to not just about, again, the famous Martin Luther King, Rosa Parks, but more. And them really being interested and wanting to learn more and saying, I can't wait to go home and learn more. And I said, okay, you get extra credit if you bring it back to the class. And doing that and feeling comfortable enough to do it and not worried about what people are going to say. Like that has nothing to do with what my class was about. But to me it was, because my class is about diversity, English language learners, and special ed. And to me it all fits together.